I think that my husband and I are probably your biggest fans. We absolutely love this movie. I drug him to it, I have to be honest. He's like, oh, I don't want to go see another movie about slavery. And it was not that. So you tell me, how did you get this project? Why?
Oh my goodness. You know, it's been such a long journey for me to get to this role, but it's been an amazing one. I first met the producer, Damien Jones, several years ago when I was straight out of drama school. And he told me about the postcard of the painting. And this painting that had, you know, come from the Mansfield family was up in Scotland, and it had an exhibition at Kenwood House. But I missed the exhibition, so I had to go and get a postcard from the gift shop there. And he had said, you know, about this girl who really existed. And I just thought, this is incredible. Why don't we know about Dido? And, you know, having grown up in the UK and having gone to drama school in London and lived in the same area that Dido lived in, I just thought it was crazy. And I thought it was a really a story that needed to be told.
I agree with you 100%. So a couple different things. When you were in that role, how real was that for you? I felt it every step along the way in terms of the tension of being brought up in this wealthy family. And when it got to the point where she was older and could not engage in the privilege of her white counterpart, how did you feel like that as an actress, as an African, well, not an African American, but as a black woman? How did you feel about that?
I mean, I was just so happy to be able to tell this story. I think that it's got so many nuances, and I think, you know, exploring the issue of racial identity, and not just racial identity, actually identity as a woman as well. You know, I think that it really is universal. So I think so many people can relate to it on many different levels, because we've got, you know, the class system as well in the UK, which is very, very specific to that period, and the marriage market and women and how you value yourself. And I think that was something that we always talked about with Amma, was very keen to impress on the whole cast, you know, that one of the things to hold on to, and the thing that I really connected to as well, is the idea of who defines you. Is it society or is it yourself? And I think that that is a really empowering message, you know, in terms of being authentic to who you really are.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that. Last night, my show was called A Woman's Worth. And here in Atlanta, 2 hours of live radio discussing what it means to be worthy. So now that you have walked into this role and have done this project, how do you define a woman's worth, value?
Wow. I mean, you know, for some people it's a life's work, but for me, you know, I think it's about listening to your instincts. And if you can't hear your instincts, doing whatever you can to engage them, and really being true to yourself. You know, I mean, one of my favorite quotes from Shakespeare that, you know, I played Ophelia for about 6 months a couple of years ago, and I used to hear this line again and again and again on stage, and I was just like, this is it. It's this above all, to thine own self be true. And for me, I always come back to that, you know, as an actress, you know, in a role, and also just in life. I just think it's a great motto to hold on to, because, you know, in this day and age, there's so many influences in the media and social media, and just our image obsessed society. I think it's important just to kind of, you know, recontact who you are whenever you can.
So, you know, it was interesting to me that in the movie, though, your beauty, her beauty, it never really kind of played a role. And why not? I guess is my question.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think Amma Asante, our director, was very keen to kind of, you know, have a woman of color front and center of the movie, not playing, you know, Dido was not a slave, even though her mother was a slave. She is a woman of privilege. And I think, you know, the world that we exist in is definitely a beautiful world in this film. You know, it's the period, it's got that Jane Austen feel, you know, the colors, there's a real sweeping elegance to it. And for me, I think, you know, that's the question of beauty, is how people see Dido as well, because, you know, to begin with, she can't see the beauty in herself, you know, and I think she goes on this journey of self-discovery to be able to look in the mirror and feel comfortable with what she sees. And I think, you know, various characters throughout the film, you know, there's a big love story in the film, obviously a romantic love story, and there's also the love story of a father to a daughter with Tom Wilkins's character, even though he's not actually her biological father. He plays that that role. But, you know, then there's various other characters that don't really know how to deal with Dido and are confused by her heritage and her looks and sort of, you know, lust after her, but are also repulsed by what that may represent to their society. So I think it draws in a lot of kind of conflicting emotions, and ultimately I think when Dido kind of has the sort of evolutionary moment to stand up for herself is once she has sort of been able to be comfortable in her own skin. You know,
one of the best scenes at the lake when the to-be brother-in-law possibly assaults, but it's not an assault that's really violent, but I so felt that as an actress, because once again, this is totally not my realm. What do you do with that? How do you really do that?
Yeah, you know, I mean, that was a powerful scene, and we, you know, just on a technical level, we did rehearse it, and you know, to be able to, you know that what the camera captures actually and how it is written is that he just grabs her by the waist and grabs her face. But how it's framed, right, I think, you know, it's just our faces. You can't see what else is going on. So I think a lot of your imagination takes it there. And you don't necessarily, as I say, you know, what we as actors actually, you know, did in that scene on the day is nothing compared with where people endow where it went to, you know. And I think that that's also interesting, kind of the power of film as well. You don't have to show everything to be able to show the emotion that, you know, that is evoked in you know, a kind of an assault like that.
As an actress, take me on your journey. So where do you go from here? I mean, obviously really talented. I mean, extremely talented, beautiful to look at on film. What's next?
Wow. Well, you know, the next film that I have coming out is a huge contrast to Belle. It's called Beyond the Lights, and it's directed actually by another female woman of color called Gina Prince Bythewood. She's written it as well, and it's a love story set in the music industry. So it's very, very contemporary.
Are you a groupie?
No, I play the pop star, I guess, a singer called Noni Jean, and it's basically you know, about her and her sort of this toxic mother-daughter relationship that she has with her manager, this momager figure, if you like, and how my character kind of wins this, you know, massive Grammy award and has been groomed into this very sexualized pop princess from a very young age, and then she wins this huge award and tries to commit suicide. And so that's kind of the beginning of the story. And I mean, even though it sounds very dark, it's actually a very romantic story also in a contemporary way, because she gets rescued by a police officer who's played by Nate Parker, and then kind of ensues a kind of sort of forbidden love romance between the two of them, because they're from such different worlds, and she's able to kind of evolve, you know, like Dido, but in a very different context, to find her voice.
Oh my gosh. So do I hear themes of Black producers and directors? Am I hearing something in terms of your stance and professional?
Well, I mean, these two projects particularly, I have to say, following one on from the other, definitely explore the themes of identity for sure. And I think, you know, female directors is something, you know, that's been coming my way. I actually just wrapped another movie with another female director called Courtney Hunt, who was Oscar nominated for Frozen River. And, you know, that's a completely different story. That's a legal drama. So and I play a second chair defense attorney in that one. So for me, you know, I love to work on stories that, you know, do have great meaty female roles. I think, you know, they're few and far between, but when you find female writers and female directors that are really passionate about telling those stories, I love to collaborate with them on that. So we'll see, hopefully, you know, and I love the themes of Belle and Beyond the Lights, you know, that challenge our cultural perceptions. I think that, you know, that's how you kind of move the culture forward a little bit.
I am so glad that you are here in this scene. Last question. My show coming up this Sunday is Eat, Pray, Laugh, and Love. So for those things, I'd like to find out, what do you love to eat? Right. Do you pray?
Right.
What makes you laugh? And how do you love?
Oh, wow. I mean, I love that book, by the way. I thought you were going to say Eat, Pray, Love. I actually read...
I have laugh in there too.
Yeah, I actually read that book when I first moved to Los Angeles, and it was such a lovely companion book to have around. What do I love to eat?
Yes.
Oh, my God. I love to eat, local foods wherever I go. I've been traveling. I was just working in New Orleans for 5 weeks, and that's kind of killer because the food is so amazing. And I was so I love to eat that. I love like what's local. I love fresh fish, which we had a lot of fish there and a lot of shrimp, a lot of fried food. I try and stay away from fried food, but yeah, I love to eat local and cultural food if I'm traveling. Mm-hmm. What was the other one?
Praying.
You know what? I don't really pray so much. I guess I do meditate. I've been trying to start meditating, the last couple of years. And I do a lot of yoga. So I do have a kind of spiritual practice for myself, and trying to kind of stay centered through that. So I guess that's my kind of spiritual center.
What makes you laugh?
Oh my gosh. My friends make me laugh. I mean, and stupid people send me stupid pictures, and my friends from home kind of keep me grounded and everything like that. And my dad always cracks me up because he's just funny. He has great perspective. Love. Oh my gosh, how do I love? I mean, I try and bring sort of a loving energy into any experience and interaction. I think it's it's all around. It's who we are. So and then the stories I tell, I love to tell love stories like Belle. I'm a real romantic at heart. So Belle and Beyond the Lights are very much romantic love stories. So that's fun.